What's crack, it's VangelinaSkov, and today we're going to be talking about aliens. It's been a long time since I've done an alien video, and I keep promising one and then not making it, because every time I want to make a video about aliens, some YouTuber starts some drama, and then I have to cover that, and I don't have time for the aliens. And a lot of you guys have been saying you really wanted to see one from me as well, so that's what I'm going to do today, finally. Now, you may or may not have seen that in a recent interview, Donald Trump was asked about Roswell, which, as you probably know, is a very famous site in New Mexico where in 1947 a UFO allegedly crashed. And according to many alien theorists, there are aliens there and alien technology to this day. So generally it's not something that presidents in America talk about. And if they are asked about it, they try to deflect. So in today's video, we're just going to go over what Donald Trump had to say about this. We'll talk a little bit about Roswell as well. And I want to go over some of the history of presidents in America and what they had to say about aliens. But before we get into that, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload. Thank you. By the way, somebody commented once that I move my hands too much when I talk. I'll move my hands all I want to, thanks. Generally, I tend to assume that everybody knows about the Roswell crash, but actually I spoke to somebody the other day who had never heard of it, and I couldn't wrap my head around that. But just in case you've never heard of the Roswell crash, let me briefly go over it for you. On July 8th in 1947, an unidentified flying object crashed near a ranch in Roswell, New Mexico. This was originally reported to be a flying saucer, but the next day the military changed their story and said that it was a weather balloon, despite a lot of evidence pointing out that it was not a weather balloon. And from there on out until the present day, there have been countless reports of people seeing alien technology there, people working on alien technology, people seeing UFOs in the skies near Roswell, as well as reports that they have live aliens at the site, as well as some dead aliens too. Now, anything that happens at Roswell is completely top secret. Therefore, US presidents or anybody in the military or the government, if they know about it, they can't say what's going on. It is classified. But a couple of days ago in one interview, Donald Trump was asked about Roswell. In this, the interviewer says, "I really want to know what's going on at Roswell. Would you ever consider opening it up and letting us know what's going on?"
Before you leave office, will you let us know if there's aliens? Because this is the only thing I really want to know. I want to know what's going on. Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on?
And Trump's answer, despite not being very clear, has sparked a lot of interest. He talks about how there's millions of people who want to know what's going on there, and then follows that by saying he won't tell the interviewer what he knows about it, but there is some very interesting stuff there.
There are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify?
No.
You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one, right?
Then the interviewer goes on to ask him, would you ever declassify it? And Trump says, I'll have to think about it. Which obviously means no. But hey, if you think about it, that would be a really good campaign move. If you vote for me again for another 4 years, I will tell you about the aliens. I doubt he's going to do that, but you know, it is a good idea. Maybe one of the other candidates can do it. But obviously, the answer that he gave has a lot of people thinking that Trump knows that there's aliens at Roswell, or at least that there's alien technology at Roswell. But then, of course, there are people that say that Trump doesn't know what he's talking about and he's just saying things for the sake of saying them. Although, to be honest, personally, I wouldn't be surprised if he did know something. Because there has been a long history of presidents hinting that they know something about aliens. And just to name a few of these presidents, you have George Bush Sr., George W. Bush, J.F. Kennedy, Harry S. Truman, Richard Nixon, and even Jimmy Carter, who's been called the UFO president. And you're probably wondering why he was called that, but that's because he said he had an actual UFO sighting before he ran for president. And not just that, he actually filed a report on this sighting. He was so sure that this sighting was legitimate that he filed a report on it. And while campaigning, he said that if he became president, he would declassify every piece of UFO information that he could. So I guess he couldn't declassify any of it because he never did. Now obviously you could say that that means that there was just no information, or you could just say that he does not have that ability or that power. Because I think it's pretty much accepted by now that the President of the United States is just a figurehead. They don't have any actual power, especially when it comes to things of state secrecy or military affairs. And I'm talking super secret classified military affairs. Of course, super secret classified being the official term. Now, one really interesting story regarding presidents seeing aliens that I want to talk about is Dwight D. Eisenhower. One day while he was in office, he completely disappeared, and there were rumors going around that he was dead or really sick or missing. Once the media was in a panic, the White House press secretary James Haggerty called a press conference to say that Eisenhower wasn't missing, he just went for emergency dental treatment. And the reason for this emergency dental work was because he'd hurt his tooth while eating fried chicken. Quite a story. But curiously, there is no evidence for him having visited the dentist that day. But there is evidence of him going to Holloman Air Force Base at the time that he was supposed to be at the dentist. And eyewitnesses have come out to say that this was a meeting with the extraterrestrials. So one question you might be asking is, well, if he went to go see extraterrestrials that day, would he not have come up with an excuse in advance instead of letting everybody panic and then saying he was at the dentist? Well, according to some sources, this was an emergency meeting to sign a treaty. Now, this treaty was with the Grey Aliens, who I have talked about before in previous videos, although if you want to, I can make a better quality version of that video, because the video I did before talking about alien races was absolutely horrible to listen to. And the reports say that this treaty was because the Greys thought that we were about to destroy ourselves with nuclear weapons. And they originally wanted us to discontinue all testing of these weapons. But apparently the US was not going to stop doing these tests, so they came to another agreement instead. So let's go over the treaty just a little bit. It allegedly states that we would not be involved in their affairs and they would not become involved in ours. They would help us with developing our technology. They would not make a treaty with any other nation on Earth, so only America. They could abduct humans for various experiments, but had to provide names of all those they abducted to Earth's Majestic 12 Committee. And if you don't know what Majestic 12 is, oh boy, that's a big one to get into, so maybe I'll do a whole video on that if you want. But it was basically sort of an assembly of people who dealt with UFOs and aliens and things like that back in the 1950s and 60s. And finally, that the public would not be informed about the existence of extraterrestrials. So if this treaty was legitimately signed by both Grey Aliens and the US government, this would clear up a lot of questions that people have. For example, why hasn't the existence of extraterrestrials been exposed? This treaty would explain that. It would also confirm people's theories that the US government allows aliens to abduct a certain number of people in order to run experiments on them, in return for them helping us to improve our technology. Now, there is so much more I could go into about this, but I think that's enough for now. And there are so many other president encounters and stories that I could go over, but we will be here for 4 hours if I do that. So do let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos on this topic. And of course, let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments. Do you think Donald Trump knows anything about UFOs at Roswell? Do you think that the Greys are working with the US government? Or do you think I'm completely insane? Do let me know and I will try to read all of your comments. Anyway guys, that's going to be it from me for now. As I said at the start of the video, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload. And you can also follow me on social media. Like, comment, share, do all the things I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of a video, and have a wonderful day. There are the hands again that annoy people for some reason. You really have no problems in life if this is what bothers you. Honestly. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Just a fun fact for you all before we end as well. I only plan to talk about what Trump had said and then briefly mention some things about presidents seeing UFOs or knowing about them. I did not plan to go on a whole tangent about Eisenhower, but there you go. The aliens, they speak through me.